The other day, I had a birthday, and believe it or not, and I have a hard time believing it, I'm actually 70 years old. Sometimes I feel like I'm 25 or 30, and there are other times when I feel like I'm 110 years old. So I didn't do much. It's been cold, it's been foggy, it's been just miserable outside. The fog will burn off here in southern Oregon at about 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon, and given these god-awful short days, it doesn't last long, and next thing you know, the fog is rolling in as soon as the sun goes down. So I've been doing a lot of stuff because I sure as hell am not going to watch the inauguration tomorrow. I'm going to tune all of that out and focus on other stuff, which I've been anyway. And I have to say, there hasn't been any follow-up on this story, which was put forth by Fox 4 in Kansas City, Missouri. But one of the most infamous fugitive cases in the history of the United States apparently has been resolved, and yet no national media has followed up on this. Fox News 4 has no reason to make this up, but apparently the infamous murderer who was known as La Pistolaria in Mexico, Sharon Kinney, who had beaten the system back in the early 60s, and with 2 murders, and I'll talk about those in a little more detail, and then fled to Mexico, killed a man there, and was convicted down there, and then escaped in, I think it was December of 1969, and never ever heard from again. Apparently she died in 2022 at the age of either 82 or 83. And according to this report, the FBI confirmed it, confirmed the rumor that she was dead, and they confirmed it through fingerprints. However, why is there not a press conference? Why wasn't there an announcement held? I'm not doubting this story is true. Undoubtedly it's true. But why they haven't done that is a mystery to me, because this is such an infamous case. But that woman got away with it. I'll tell you, one lucky damn woman. Not the victims that she victimized. They weren't lucky. Not the lives she ruined. They weren't lucky. Those people weren't lucky. But she sure as hell was. She literally got away with it. And this, ironically, this piece here, and I'm not sure what the thing is. It's an article. All that's interesting, I don't know if it's actually a blog or what it is, but ironically, they wrote this at about the time that she reportedly died under an alias. And by the way, the Fox News report, the Fox 4 report, did not disclose where she lived since 1969. But anyway, this article gives a little bit of background, so this is better. I have yet to find any other article or video report other than this one that was just 2 days ago. But anyway, the blurb here is, after allegedly murdering her husband in 1960, Sharon Kinney shot her lover's pregnant wife. Then she evaded justice and escaped to Mexico only to kill again, before vanishing without a trace. And she also had allegedly killed her husband and tried to pin it on her 2-year-old daughter. But that And that, I'll go into details about that. But anyway, in 1960, Sharon Kinney was living as a bored housewife in the small Missouri town in which she was born. A mother to two and married to a Mormon man 6 years her senior, Kinney occupied her time with shopping and extramarital affairs. Both she and her husband James were looking for a way out of the marriage when Kinney reportedly found him dead by an apparent gunshot wound to the head in March of that year. She told police that their 2-year-old had shot him accidentally, but then her lover's pregnant wife turned up dead months later. Though she was acquitted for both murders 3 times, Kinney would kill again after running away to Mexico in 1964. But just 5 years later, Kinney managed to escape the Mexican prison where she was being held and hasn't been seen since. So this woman was unbelievable. And as of this writing, Sharon Kinney is considered one of the longest missing felons in the U.S. history. And let's see. And anyway, so they talk about her marriage to that guy, James. And it says here, now bored 20-year-old Sharon burned through cash with a shopping habit. As James Kinney worked night shifts as an electrical engineer, she reacquainted herself with her high school friend John Boldes, I guess is what it is. So she was out screwing around. By March 1960, facing debt and suspecting his wife's infidelities, James wanted a divorce, but his devout Mormon family urged him to try it one more day. Oh, that was bad advice. Sharon Kinney was also contemplating separation, but of a vastly different kind. So then she called the police and found him dead, and of course it was all the little 2-year-old's fault. God, what a piece of work. What a nasty piece of work. And of course she killed him for his insurance policy of $230,000. I don't know if that's $230,000 in 1960s dollars or if that's 2022's dollars, because that's when this thing was written. And then, a few months later, she bought a Ford Thunderbird from a married car salesman named Walter Jones on April 18, 1960. They started a brief affair that Jones ended when Kinney announced that she was pregnant. Then Jones's pregnant wife, Patricia, went missing on May 26. And guess what? She wound up dead. And then Kinney and her ex-lover, mentioned up thread, led police to Patricia Jones's body off the path of their usual lover's lane. And anyhow, investigators knew Sharon Kinney was the last person to see Patricia Jones alive. And so on May 31st, Kinney was arrested for her murder. At the time, police also charged her with the murder of her husband. But Kinney's separate trials were postponed as she gave birth to another daughter in 1961. The Patricia Jones trial began with the absence of a murder weapon, though a man who worked with Kinney admitted to purchasing a .22 caliber pistol for her in early May 1960. But when police searched her house, they only found an empty gun box. There were just too many loopholes, so the all-male jury acquitted Kinney. Oh, I'm sure she charmed the pants off of him, too. And afterward, a jury member requested Kinney's autograph, which she duly signed. Can you believe it? So, you know, if you look halfway decent, and back then, you know, a lot of juries were all male, and women couldn't serve on juries. Hey, they figured, well, hey, I would do her if I had a chance, you know, so they let her off the hook. For the murder of her husband, Kinney was found guilty at trial and sentenced to life on January 11, 1962. And anyway, then they talk about her asking her ex-lover whether she'd kill him for $1,000. In March 1963, a Supreme Court reversed Kinney's conviction, ordering a new trial, which ended in a mistrial, and her third trial resulted in a hung jury. Can you believe this woman being that lucky? Out on $25,000 bond, Kinney headed to Mexico City in September 1964. Well, Kinney could legally travel. She did not have written permission from the bail bond company to leave the U.S., making her a wanted felon. Oh, Jesus. And so she went to Mexico. And, anyway, she was meeting Mexican-born American citizen Francisco Paredes Ortoñez or whatever, and ended up in his motel room, ostensibly to look at some pictures. Yep. Kinney spurned his advances and shot him twice in the chest just to scare him off. A motel employee, hearing gunshots, was shot and injured by Kinney as he entered the room. Kinney was locked inside and then arrested, claiming self-defense. Oh, God, what a piece of work. The police thought otherwise, and that it was instead a robbery gone wrong. During questioning, Kinney allegedly told a U.S. Embassy official that she had shot men before and gotten away with it. You think? The ballistics testing matched that of her 1961 trial. Sharon Kinney could not be charged for Jones's murder, having already been acquitted. With Kinney in Mexican custody, she missed her fourth retrial for the murder of her husband, resulting in an arrest warrant. And then convicted in the Mexico murder. On October 18, 1965, Kinney was nicknamed La Pistolera, the gunfighter, by the Mexican press. Sentenced to 13 years in a woman's prison, it seemed that this would be the end. But it wasn't. On December 7th, 1969, Kinney missed a routine evening roll call. When she missed the night's second roll call, her absence was officially noted. An unusual blackout had occurred in prison around that time, and officials took several hours reporting Kinney missing. And she was never heard from again. And until, apparently, she died under an alias about 2 to 3 years ago. So anyway, hopefully the national media is going to pick this up about this. I mean, they're going to be all lollygagging over Trump, but certainly this has got to be talked about. But I thought I'd read this article. It kind of summarizes the kind of somewhat complicated trials and tribulations of this woman. And there is a book out that I tried to read about her, and it was so badly written I couldn't continue it. But this is a subject that a skilled true crime writer could write about and at least be able to construct a decent sentence in a paragraph, because the book that is currently out was absolute garbage. Anyway, on that happy note, I thought I'd share this report, and we'll see if the national media picks it up, or maybe the story isn't true. I can't imagine it's not true that she was reportedly dead. So anyway, that's the end of Sharon Kinney, and that's the end of my video.